Hey y'all, welcome to For the Fans Entertainment, where tonight we're going to break down the second episode of the challenge, Spies, Lies, and Allies, where we saw a champion replacement come in, two rookie teams get thrown into elimination, and Smashly unleashed on the house. So let's dive in. Frank, Michael, how are y'all?
I'm good.
Doing well. Happy to be here with you guys again.
All right, so first impressions of this episode. What'd y'all think?
It had everything we need. It had a great challenge. It had, like, I counted 4 hookups, some fights. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I was on the other end of the spectrum. I was a little underwhelmed. I'd give it maybe a 6 out of 10. The challenge part of it was very short. Like, we only saw like 3 minutes of the challenge. I thought I could have given a little bit more, but we'll dive into that.
Yeah. All right. So to start the episode off, it was a little bit different because we kind of got 2 party scenes this episode. And so we get Ed coming into the house and we get a little bit of an introduction. So did either one of y'all watch The Circle?
I did. Yes. So Ed played with his mom, which was interesting on The Circle. So it's fun to see him in his own light, I guess. And he came in later on in the season. So at least he gets some airtime.
Yeah. I think it's fun to get to see his personality because we didn't really get to know him that well on The Circle. And he's like such a little spark plug, I feel like, and he's really positive. And so I'm like on the fence. I'm like, okay, I don't know if I like this type of energy or if it's kind of like a breath of fresh air.
I love it. And we are going to see 2 different Eds because you're different when you hang out with your mom than when you're hanging out with a house full of people partying. And I think he's come into the challenge. I think he's come into the challenge the right way. I think he's making a name for himself to get on to future seasons. I think we're going to see him come back multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of like gives me a little bit of Kahutta vibes, except for the fact that like he's so jacked. But you know, like size wise and the country factor, I feel like he's just got a little bit of Kahutta to him. And you know, as a little Texas girl, it's kind of nice to see a country person because they're, you know, we're underrepresented.
And did you guys know that I watched this on watching like the after show thing that they do, and he didn't have shorts on when he came in. When they introduced him, he like forgot to put on the shorts, so he just had on the spandex tights. So I didn't catch that the first time, but I just think that makes me love Ed even more.
That's great. Yeah.
No, I love that he came in with so much energy. Imagine being that close to getting on and you don't get on initially and you're quarantined for all that time, and then they call you and say, all right, you're going in. I would be ecstatic as well. So, you know, I loved it.
And I mean, one thing that I think is interesting too is we do find out like he has this Ivy League background. He's an engineer. So it's going to be interesting because he's going to maybe bring a little bit of everything, a little brains, a little brawn, a little beauty. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. We get an update on the Michelle and Emmanuel situation. And as is hinted, she's feeling him.
His dance moves, I mean, they would attract anyone. Like, he's peacocking hard on the dance floor.
Yeah, I would admit I have a little bit of a crush on him too. I did a little research and he lasted 132 days in Survivor Romania. So like right there is kind of hot. Like we only do 39 in the States. So for him to last that long and be the runner up and only get 1 vote against him the whole time, I was kind of turned on a little bit.
I mean, I don't know if it's like the face tattoos maybe, or if it's like the 80s porn mustache, like something about him. I'm just like, no. And so I'm like really trying to stare at him. And I'm like, okay, there's obviously something in person, like his charisma that draws him in because Michelle is so gorgeous. And so I'm like, he is pulling way above his scale, but apparently not. Like,
well, I think you're looking at it from a Texas point of view, and he's probably not the typical type of guy in Texas that would land the 10s. But I think outside of that wonderful state, he's got some swag.
Okay, maybe, yeah. We don't have a lot of people running around with face tattoos in Texas, just being honest.
Well, she's from Jersey, and Jerseys are known for going for the juice head Guidos that don't have some brain cells in their heads. So maybe she's stepping outside of her comfort zone.
Yeah, and I mean, like we know that she had her thing with Wendell where they were kicking it. She had her little relationship with Detective Dean. So I just feel like Emmanuel is like just random for her.
Maybe she likes it. Maybe she's a fan of Baskin Robbins and just likes all the flavors.
All of them.
There you
go. That's great. Okay, we also get a little hookup, possibly with Tori and Kels. What do you think? They don't actually show us if anything happens. So, what do you think?
I think she's good at keeping most of that stuff off the cameras. In the past, she hasn't been real sloppy. I think something will probably happen out of the show. It'll fizzle out, and then she'll go on to another rookie that comes into the house.
Oh, dang, shots fired.
Yeah.
So I looked it up to see what Kel said in his exit press and everything, and he said that after the show, Tori didn't contact him, so it fizzled before it ever even got ignited.
Yep, I told you. I said last week. I said she likes guys that get to the finals at least.
Yeah. You ain't making it to the end. You're not Tori's type.
Yeah. Hopefully he was a little bit of an opportunist too, knowing that Tori is such a big name in the challenge world that might bring him back for a future season to see if something will blossom between the two of them if it didn't this time.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought that Kels had a really good showing for his first season, and I think he had, just enough in the 2 episodes that he was on that we're going to probably see him again. I mean, he's like a specimen of a man, so big, so ripped.
I think they're going to bring him back until he goes in at least one hall brawl. We will see him back until that happens.
Yeah, we missed that opportunity. I wanted to see him and Fessy go head-to-head in a hall brawl. That's just the moment that I was waiting for, and so I feel a little robbed.
Yeah.
We didn't get that.
I feel like it was set up a little bit like that too as the episode progressed for a little bit of tension between Fessy and him. So I think we were robbed of that moment for sure.
We also get a little bit of blooming romance with RealiTEA and Berna.
Yeah.
Not Ashley.
It's a triangle. It's a triangle. Nellie's love triangle.
Nelson, what are you doing? We keep getting these confessionals from Amanda where she's like, Ashley's going to catch feelings, and we all know what's going to happen when she loses her mind whenever you wrong her. And we do not have to wait long for this payoff. But if you're going to have a side piece, I don't think that you need to do it in the same season while your girl that you were hooking up with prior to the show is still there.
Yeah, same night, I believe. I believe he hooked up with both of them the same night.
Yeah, I also question whether these people from around the world did any sort of investigation into previous seasons, because if I see Ashley in action, I am not going for the guy that she's claiming at this moment.
No, Berna, run, baby. What are you doing? What are you doing? So, we do get to see this conversation with Michelle where she talks with Tracy, and I feel like this is Survivor Politics 101, where she's like, I'm so sorry, I just wanted to take a moment and apologize to you about stealing your partner. And Tracy's like, yeah, it's okay, no big deal, maybe I'll steal him back from you. And I was like, look at Michelle doing some politicking here.
I mean, I'm sure she will try and steal him back. Everybody wants him, right?
No. And I mean, obviously, spoiler alert, she's not going to be able to steal him back.
Yeah. I agree. Michelle playing that card was smart in her. She already has people coming after her, so she doesn't want to make other enemies when she can, try to get them back on her good graces. Typical Survivor move for sure. Michelle is still one of my favorite rookies, and I think has the best mindset to play this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting just to see her operating as a Survivor winner because, yes, we did get Natalie, but we didn't get her for very long. So we did not get to really see her get to work the game. And so having a winner on there, and especially a winner that won socially, I think is really, really interesting.
Yeah, and I think she did a good job. Like the first week, she was explosive because her ass was on the line. Now she's kind of calming down, toning down, fading into the shadows. And I think if some drama can happen the next little while, she might continue to fly under the radar and get a little deeper.
Yeah, it would be good for her to just be able to fade off into the background. And there's definitely a lot of big personalities that are looking for, not necessarily even looking for it, but can't avoid the limelight. Number one being Emmy. So
Yes. A ball of emotions.
yeah, a ball of emotion. She's a lot. So
In our fantasy league, do you lose points for crying or gain points for crying?
So in our the challenge fantasy, you get points for crying.
Yeah.
Yes.
In Big
Thank
Brother, they lose points for crying. Because
Gotcha.
I scored Big Brother and the challenge back to back, and I had to like check myself because I was like, okay, one is this way and one is the other. Yeah, so Emmy, just a ball of points for her fantasy.
I personally love her. As someone who would classify himself as a lot, I could appreciate someone being a lot. The tears, but also she's a great competitor. You know, going back to Survivor Romania, she lasted 129 days in Survivor Romania. So she definitely has what it takes to be a good competitor, and she's giving me what I need in this moment. Yeah.
So I finally went back and watched the preview episode. So her and Emmanuel knew each other, but did they play together?
He voted her out at final 5, I believe. Yes. So she was 5th and he was the runner-up, and he only had 1 vote cast against him in 132 days.
One season, 132 days. That's just crazy.
Right.
How many start out on that cast?
I think there was 30. It was like a celebrities versus regular people type thing. So I believe there was 30, but then they added a couple of people midway through.
That'd be some bullshit.
Yeah. But he was there the whole time, and so was Emmy. So
wow.
Yeah, that says a lot about what they bring to the game for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, oh wow. We'll get more into Emmy as the episode goes on, because once again, she's a big star of this episode. We get Kels talking about how the rookies really need to stick together. And we also get this conversation again with the vet sitting down and talking about, we got to put all the past stuff to the side because we have to work together. And we see Josh setting it up of, I think Kels is the ringleader. So do you think that Kels actually was the ringleader, or do you think this was more to do with just his appearances?
I think that I'm pretty sure Josh and Fessy set that up to make Kels look like he was strategizing, because I think Fessy and him did make a deal, and I think it was Corey and Kels might have talked. I can't quite exactly remember, but yeah, that was all orchestrated to make him look like the bad guy and make him look like he was scheming when he may have had those comments, but everyone's going to have those comments. If there's something that links us together, like being rookies, then that's what I'm going to be like, hey, rookies need to stick together. If it's people that have beards, I'm going to be like, hey, everybody with a beard needs to stick together.
Yeah, that's great.
I would say it was based on appearance. I mean, just Kel's temperament, like how he can stay calm and all of that, and just the way he presents himself definitely makes him more of a threat. On top of the fact that he's probably like 6'7" and like 400 pounds of muscle. So yeah, I'm threatened by him. I just wish Josh would have just said that. Like, I'm scared of you, bro.
Yeah.
I normally don't like anything Josh does, but I was actually impressed with Josh this episode. It was very apparent what he was doing. I think everyone knew it, but it's mission accomplished. It worked.
Yeah,
He
it worked.
knew that all he had to do was just get a name out there in that room of a bunch of people, and everything was going to happen the way it was supposed to. It may not have been smooth, but I give Josh the props this week because I, for the first time ever, was impressed with him. And I think it might be because I think now that Devin is friends with Josh, I'm kind of like, okay, I'll hang out with Josh now because my best friend Devin likes him. So I think Josh might be growing on me, and I hope not. If so, I'm going to have to seek help.
I mean, I think the Josh and Devin truce is a match made in heaven because they are the same person. Okay? They're both attention whores, and they both plan things for the camera to get screen time. Devin packing his Speedo 100% just so that he could get some screen time of him in the Speedo. Josh banging pots and pans on Big Brother for screen time. Like,
So I think
they're, from that aspect, they're the same. They're attention whores.
most of the people that come on the show are attention whores, number one. And I think there's a difference between Josh
on that level. Those two
okay,
are
Josh,
on that level. And they're like baby bananas.
I think Josh is an attention whore. I think Devin just knows how to work a crowd. He knows how to work the camera. There's a difference between being an attention whore and knowing how to work the camera. And I think that's the difference between Josh and Devin is Devin knows how to work the camera. Josh is an attention whore.
In the words of Ashley, I think you have your challenge goggles on. And you put a hard on for Devin, okay? Because
well, just
Devin,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say Devin is an attention whore. He is the same as Josh.
Yes, but I think Devin comes off in a comedic way where Josh comes off in an annoying way. And just like, I mean, I never thought I'd agree with Frank, but I have to agree with Frank on this one. I also think there's strategy behind what Devin does, where I don't think, besides this moment, I have not seen much strategy in Josh in his previous seasons or even in Big Brother. So there is similarities, yes, but I think Devin is way up here compared to Josh.
I mean, I think Devin is definitely more intelligent than Josh, and he is more strategic minded. But in terms of like their role is the same. Come at me.
Agree to disagree.
Everybody can drop their comments and they can tell me if they just disagree with my take. But I just kind of.
I think. I think me and DeLucas are a little bit of attention whores, so I think we're always gonna not agree with you on this one.
Right.
We're trying to protect our own.
But let us know in the comments what you guys think. Let us know. Are they the same?
They're fundamentally the same. Okay. Anyway, so before the challenge, we get, this little staged setting between Fessy and Esther, where Fessy talks about how he is observing Ramadan. So, disclosure, we don't know much about Ramadan, so we're going to try to not sound like asses here while we talk about Ramadan. But, so we looked it up beforehand, and Ramadan is observed for 29 days and nights. Yes? Is that correct?
Yes, 29 or 30 days, it says, depending on what day it falls on.
So, any idea, like, at what point during the challenge this is of Ramadan? Like, do we know that information?
We don't, but it is also fasting from dusk till dawn. So he can eat once the sun goes down. Mm-hmm. But once the sun is up, he cannot eat or drink anything.
Yeah, that's intense.
Yeah.
And so I do like that, so much of what we get of Fessy is just messy Fessy and, kind of his ego. And to see a little bit of his background, I think is good because it humanizes him a little bit. And, it's interesting to learn a little more of his background, even if they also don't go very far into it.
Yeah, and I think just the simple fact of not being able to drink anything or eat anything and still being able to pull out a win, I was impressed. I think because finishing one of those challenges, I know the minute that challenge is over, you got to be wanting to chug some water. You can't breathe.
Yeah.
I run down the block and I need to sit down for a minute and get some water in me. So not being able to replenish that the fuel and the hydration, I don't know how he's going to do it and consistently. And if he gets to a final, Ramadan during a final, how would that he even be able to function during that?
Yeah. I think it's a bold choice to even come out during something like that. I'm interested to see if it's going to play more on his mental psyche because, you know, being malnourished and all that, is it going to cloud his judgment? And he doesn't have much judgment to begin with. So to be clouded. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects him. And I think that's going to be an integral part of the storyline because he's mentioned it in episode 1 and he's mentioned it in episode 2. So I think it might continue to play a factor in his game.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how it plays out. So we go to the challenge and mission heli heist. What do y'all think about this?
I thought it was a cool challenge. I didn't know what was going to happen when I saw the helicopter. I don't quite understand the point of like running with the bag away from the explosion. That I wish they could have, I don't know, made it heats maybe where you actually are racing. But I didn't understand the point of running away from the explosion.
Because pyrotechnics are cool and MTV likes to blow shit up.
I would assume it was probably a tiebreaker. Like, say the first place teams both got 36 bags. It would be whoever ran over the finish line first. Mm-hmm. I was kind of let down by this challenge. I think we've been so used to like such cool stuff that it was just kind of like a filler challenge in my opinion.
I mean, I'm kind of also to the point of like, we've seen this. We've seen them speeding down the runway and, you know, hanging out of helicopters, hanging out of airplanes, flying over water, being in cars. Like, I feel like it's just kind of, you know, they are more for the looks than just the actual competition. And like, I like where they just get in there and they smash heads and, you know, like them wrestling in the pond while trying to pull something out of the lake. Like, that is what I'm here for. They don't have to spend all of this money to me. They can keep it simple and just have some badass challenges, and they don't have to be such big productions every time.
I know you guys don't agree with me, but I thought, yes, it's not a headbanger like we like to see, but I thought it was cool because it requires both people to work together, and it's more like I think it'd be fun. It may not be fun to watch, but think about hanging outside of a limo, the sunroof, trying to catch things that your partner's throwing to you from a helicopter. I think that'd be kind of a fun challenge to do, being the player. Maybe not sitting at home and watching it because it's happening so fast, but I think if you were actually putting yourself in that position, having somebody chuck things at your head while you're flying down the road, I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it as a viewer. I just feel like where we've come in the challenge that they could have done better. And plus, they edited it so that it was so short of time. So to spend all that money, like you said, for such a little part of the episode,
but I think it comes back to the fact that it's not really that visually appealing. Like, it might have been badass to get to take part in, but for us, like, you know, it's just not that fun. Like, I couldn't tell if they were actually catching them or not. So it is what it is. But in the challenge, we do get to see a few teams actually compete, and the only one that I really thought was kind of noteworthy is we get Corey and Bettina, and they decide to switch it up, and they're going to have Corey throwing and Bettina catching. So what do y'all initially think of this strategy to switch the roles?
I don't know. Maybe Corey's like, oh, I'm really good at throwing things. I can just throw them inside, and I don't even have to throw them to her.
Yeah.
It's Corey.
Yeah. Just not a lot of thought into it. Or maybe he just feels like it's not in his best interest right now to win. That I don't know. I was confused by that as well.
But the best part of a Corey and Bettina confessional is we get to see Bettina's laugh. And in case you missed it, I genuinely don't understand how somebody laughs like this.
She's fighting for air, is what it sounds like. I love his reaction. He's like, I think that might have been the first time he'd ever seen that or witnessed it, because he's like, what the fuck?
What is this?
I'm so glad they showed it because we brought it up last week in the preview episode, and I'm just so glad that it was actually made it to an episode because it's hysterical.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, I love it. Like, it is definitely her standout trait. Like, she's a beautiful girl, but like you would not be able to miss her in a room because if she laughs, you're gonna be laser focused on her.
Don't date a comedian.
Poor Bettina. Anyway, so we also get a little shot of Emmy, and Emmy is scared of heights. So, and I don't feel like this is that bad of a challenge. Like, you're securely like harnessed in on the helicopter. You're not going to fall out. And there's going to be some other challenges down the road where I feel like this is going to come into play for her, and it's going to be a problem.
Well, she got to go with Big T, so Big T got to walk her through that, and she was probably a good person to walk her through that experience of being terrified because she did it and survived. I think there was a lot of emotion too. I think after it was over, I think, yeah, she was scared, but I think she was more upset with her performance, and those emotions just took over, mixed with the fear a little bit.
So, like, I love Emmy. I mean, this is great. She will absolutely get the call and be on the challenge probably every time from the foreseeable future, as long as she wants to be here. That she's a great find. But, like, I don't know if it is her accent, but everything she says is so intense. And I just don't know. Like, have y'all seen that TikTok video where, like, the people are saying stuff in different languages, and which I know that Romanian is not German, but I feel like they're kind of in that same realm. And like you say an English word and it's normal, and then you say like a Spanish word and it sounds normal, and then you say the German word and it sounds like somebody's yelling and attacking you. And so I just feel like that is how Emmy is, and she's saying words and she's just got an energy to her. Where I think she's always on 100.
I feel like in that scene, everybody was looking at her and trying to figure out, is she happy? Is she sad? Is she crying? Is she mad? Like, it gets lost in translation because you don't know what the intent behind what she's saying is, you know? Yeah. So I feel you on that.
Yeah, and maybe it's like the inflection of her words. Like, I don't know. She doesn't, the rhythm of the speech isn't quite there. And so everything comes out so intense, which I love. It's just interesting.
Yeah, I think, thank goodness she's got Ed as a partner because she's crying all the time. Ed's laughing all the time. I think I like that.
Yeah. But what is she gonna do when she's got to climb a mountain?
Yeah, or jump out of an airplane.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I'm thinking just like jumping. Well, I think we saw a preview. We can talk about that now. The preview of next week's challenge. Yeah. That one looks intense. That one looks pretty scary.
Yeah, like that's the kind of shit I want. Like, you don't have to have Range Rovers and helicopters. Make these bitches jump off a cliff into some water. Like, this looks great. I cannot wait for this. And I like the blood. I like it looks like people are clinging to the cave walls because they're fixing to drown. Yes. This is what I'm here for. Oh, yeah. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if this does end up affecting Emmy. But, you know, like having a fear of heights is a big thing in the challenge. Kind of like Jose not being able to swim. Something you're going to have to conquer.
Well, it's a little different. When they put you in the air, you're not dying. If you go in the water and you can't swim, you're dead.
Deceased.
But maybe we need to get Emmy teamed up with CT to get through some of the fear stuff. Because he's a pretty good coach. He did a great job with Big T last season.
Until he didn't.
Until he crushed her soul, but...
Until he literally just crushed a sweet little Big T.
Is CT even there?
Yeah.
Is he even there so far? I haven't seen much of him. How's he doing on you guys' fantasy picks?
I didn't pick him.
I picked him on every team that I have, and it's not going so well at the moment, but hopefully it turns around because we need some CT. But right now it is the Nelson show.
He is on my team.
That's a great pick. It's the Nelson and Emmy show. Those two have really, really dominated the first 2 episodes. And speaking of Nelson, when he gets done with his little heli heist challenge, Ashley is like ready to greet her man, and Berna is kind of standing in the background, like she's fixing to come up to him, and Ashley's like jumping all over him and kissing him, and Berna's like, it is this really, really awkward moment. I don't know if y'all caught it.
Yeah,
did.
it's Ashley was trying to mark her territory. It was very awkward.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like she might as well have peed on him because that's what she was doing.
Burn girl, there's so many more options. Like, just leave that one be. He's like 4'3". You could do better. Keep it moving.
So we're getting ready to have our final 2 teams compete, Fessy and Esther, and who's this other one? Who's the other guy? Josh.
Josh and Amber, yeah.
Yeah, Josh. Your partner Lauren isn't here. And no shit, I'm like, who is Lauren? Who is Lauren?
I don't.
She was from Love Island season 2.
Yep, so I had to look her up and figure out what the situation was with that because girlfriend got zero airtime. No confessionals. She was not shown in the introduction show, completely edited out. And I was like, oh shit, okay. There was a girl named Lauren there. And apparently the situation is she made some type of race comment to Anissa, or that Anissa overheard, and production nipped that in the bud and sent her packing. She's like, show me the receipts, and she's kind of like feuding with them because she says she didn't say anything and she wants to see the film and they haven't shown it to her. So
that's an effective cancel. We didn't even remember who she was. They canceled her so hard.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see if anything else comes out of this. If Anissa is going to speak on it and say like what was said, or if they're going to show footage, who knows? But I think from MTV standpoint, they're probably just going to wash their hands of her and no more mentions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they pretty much did that before with
D.
Yeah.
And she was a big name. Like this
Yeah.
girl, like you
They
didn't
had to
even
do work.
You didn't even make it into the season hardly. So, but hey, we're going to bring in Amber B. So what do y'all think about seeing last year's champ back on this season?
I loved how she pulled up in the Lambo.
Loved it. Came out like a bad bitch.
Yeah. She had a strut and everything. I loved it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, she was strutting. I love the energy she brought in her first confessional where she's like, I'm back, bitches. And I was like, this is the Amber that I want to see. Bring this energy.
I saw an interview with her that she did after the episode, and you can tell she just loves the challenge. She's going to try and come back as much as she possibly can. I think she just really enjoys it. I don't know if she enjoyed Big Brother when she played it, probably because she was being creeped on by Kiley the whole time, but you can tell she loves this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a beautiful girl. She integrates well. If I were her, I would have taken the season off, maybe came back next season, just because you are coming off of a rookie win season. It's going to be a huge target on your back, but I can't blame her for coming when she gets the call, right? So
yeah, you probably don't ever want to get too far from their minds, even as a champ, because like, where's Jenny?
Yeah.
Did Jenny win? I think so. Didn't
she? Let me fact check.
She won the season before Amber won.
War of the Worlds 2? War of the Worlds? What was that?
We're going to check on that, do a little fact checking here. Maybe I made that up. But either way, she has gone far in every season. And like, where is she? But because she's boring and doesn't bring a lot, she's like been crossed off the list. I don't know.
She won the challenge Total Madness. Yep, the season
Told you.
before. Yep.
So yeah, like what happened to Jenny? So maybe not the worst decision to take the call. So
Jenny's probably
anyways,
out there fighting crime. The way she's built, she probably on the weekends fights crime for sure.
I was like, is she a cop? Such a loser. All right. So one person is not happy to see Amber beat, and that's Fessy. And Fessy's immediately like, nope, she's got to go. But this is going to be a little bit of a difficult situation because she is teamed up with Josh. And obviously, you don't have to necessarily throw duos down, but her being a returning player and Big Brother, like that is going to put a little kink into any plans Fessy has to get rid of her.
Yeah. And another kudos to Josh, because I think he was, an intricate part of steering Fessy away. So as much as I can't stand him, he did make two good decisions. Yeah.
Just kidding. So most impressed in the challenge with Esther. Like Esther is firing these little bags of gems down at Fessy's head. Maybe it was motivated by Fessy being a douche. Maybe she wanted to get that first W, but Homegirl is like firing, like she looks like Buddy the Elf in the movie when he's throwing some snowballs, like throwing them so hard and so fast.
Yeah, do you think she plays up the I'm scared, I'm nervous card, and really she's just savage?
I mean, she seems a little bit like a little badass. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like she conducted herself really well throughout the episode, and I think she's an interesting little character.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
She did well last episode with the running. She kept up with him. We'll get to when they get into the room, but there was a couple of things that she said in there that I was like, all right, girl, I see you.
Yeah, exactly. So I've got my eye on her. And so it comes down to it after everyone is competed, and it's between two teams, Esther and Fessy, Emmanuel and Casey. And I'm like, ugh, Fessy is probably like, me and Casey are the best things to ever come to the challenge. Look at us. We're not even partners and we're still here together. It makes me sick. Sorry,
Yeah.
Michael. I know you like Fessy.
I'll let you have your moment. Go ahead.
Okay, moment's over.
I was hoping Emmanuel would get the win right here, but Fessy won. I'll give him his props.
But
Yeah.
I do love it for Esther, and we get this confessional from Esther.
I'm the first Nigerian to ever win a daily challenge on TikTok.
And so, like, I am so happy for her, and her representing her country and just getting to do things that probably, obviously, not everybody even in America gets to do things like this, but opportunities like this are a lot fewer and far between, I imagine, for women in Nigeria. And so I am happy for her to get to represent her country and her culture and to have this moment.
Yeah. This is a game changer for someone like her. I think she's such a gem, but she hasn't really been exposed to the world, and now the world's getting to meet her, and I think I can't wait to see where she's at 5 years from now, or 2 years, a year from now. I'm excited to see her grow in the reality world.
Yeah.
She's definitely, if I'm the casting associates, I'm calling her back for sure for a couple of seasons after this. So I think she's an interesting one. I think we're underestimating, well, maybe the cast is underestimating her a little bit, because I think in that challenge, the thrower was probably the harder part, because if you're not nailing the target of where they can't catch it, right? So her being dead on, got to give her credit.
Yeah, I agree. So proud of little Esther. I kind of like her. So we'll see what happens. I don't exactly know how this fits into the conversations, but in my notes I have that Corey does a confessional where he talks about Fessy's been showing his true colors for years. And I'm like, Fessy's literally only been on the challenge for like 6 months. because in challenge time they just go back to back, and he's like, this bitch, he's been showing his true colors for years. And I guess it was when Corey was worried that Fessy is not going to stick true to the veterans truce. I'm not even going to call it an alliance, I'm going to call it a truce. And he's worried about what Fessy's going to do. Do you think Corey is right in being worried?
You watch last season? I think Corey and Nelson should be worried anytime Fessy has power with the way things have been going recently with their history.
Yeah.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah, nope. I mean, I agree with this assessment. It's just funny. I just love how he was like, he's been showing his true colors for years. Never mind the fact he hasn't been on the challenge for years, but he's been showing them for years. We don't trust him, okay? Amber B's talking. She is still holding a grudge against Fessy and, just them not really having her back and the comments that they made. They show a little flashback of Fessy's comments about Amber, Casey's comments about Amber, and so she's coming for them. And I kind of love it. Get you some revenge, girl.
Yeah, I guess she felt really close to them, so she felt really betrayed. But, like, if you go back and watch an episode, I'm sure everyone has said something terrible about someone else in a season. Like,
I've never said anything terrible
I
about
think
anybody.
we'll roll back some footage and I'll find something. But I think she's a little too sensitive to it. I mean, you won.
Right.
Yeah.
They lost.
That was the biggest karma.
Yeah.
You beat them. I also think she coming in as a winner has such a huge target on it that she needs to just shut up, not make any enemies, whether they're old enemies, new enemies. Like, just relax for a little bit. Josh will protect you from them and fall back.
Yeah, like, you can say whatever you want about Josh. I guess I'm going to be the Josh defender here. But Josh has social capital. He does.
This season. Right
he
now.
does it every season. I can't remember who it was that said something, but they were like, Josh isn't a bad partner because somehow he makes it far every time. Every time. He never goes home early. Never.
That's because no one's scared. The guys are not scared of him. And if he makes it to a final, who cares? Because he's not going to win the final.
You don't know that. I've been seeing that big meatball working out. He's slimming up.
Won't happen.
He's a turkey meatball now.
He's a goof. He'll always be a goof.
He's
no
like 98% fat-free ground beef.
But he is also a mouthpiece. So, like, if they plant seeds in his head, he's going to be the one to, like, bring it out to the table and create that target on his back. So I get why people utilize him. But
yeah, one of the greatest Big Brother players of all time utilized him.
Right.
Kind of burn him in the end, but he is a great tool.
No. Okay, so we also get Emmy worrying about her performance and her meltdown. And these veteran girls, especially Anissa and Tori, they've kind of taken Emmy under their wing. And, Emmy ratting out the Survivor Alliance last episode. They're like, come on, Emmy, little friend. We will take you under our wing. Please tell us everything you know. And so they're like kind of little mama birds over Emmy. And they're like, it's okay. No one's going to vote you in.
I think that's going to be what causes her the most, like, issues throughout this season is those girls are going to be so nice to her and sweet to her when she's crying. And then they're going to continue to send her in. And she's going to be like, I thought we were friends. What's happening?
Yeah.
But I hope she's, like, taking notes and names because, like, she will be back and she's going to come back better from this experience and realize that, people aren't always telling you the truth. And even if you are under their wing, you are disposable to them. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see Emmy in a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. So we get them going to the club. Like last year it was distinguishably an igloo. I don't know exactly what this is, so I kind of miss just being able to be like, okay, they went to the igloo. But they went to the club, and Ashley tells Nelson that she's got feelings. and Nelly ain't feeling it back.
He's blindsided. It's like, how did you not see this coming, dude? He's like, what?
I thought we were just messing around.
The most surprising thing is that Ashley still has feelings. Like, that's the most surprising part of that for me.
And maybe that's what caught Nelson off guard, because he's like, I didn't think that you could feel. So
I don't think they're feelings. I think what it is she had right down the road from her. She had a plaything right down the road, and then she goes on the challenge and wants to bring her plaything with her, and someone else wants to play with it, and now she's in love with this toy, and it's the only toy she's ever wanted, and she's going to hold on to it as tight as she possibly can.
Yeah.
That's not love, though.
But I love it. I love it. And what I love is that before they go to the club, Ashley is telling Emmy, like, don't worry, people will always do things at the club once they're drinking to take the target off you and put it on themselves. And your boy Devin pops in and is like, it'll probably be Ashley. Spoiler alert, it's Ashley. So, but before we get into the full Smashly meltdown, we have this scene in the club where Fessy tries to strike a little deal with Kells. So let's talk about that.
I think this is part of the setup, right?
It's part of the
Kells
setup.
talking about deals, promise him you won't throw him in, and then Josh runs and tells everybody that Kells is making deals, so the house throws him in. So then Fessy isn't the bad guy, and he just pretty much an alley-oop to Josh.
Do we think it would have been any different if Kells would have been like, yeah, bro, I won't throw you in. Like, we should definitely be shields for each other. But Kells is basically like, I'm good. We don't need to make an alliance.
Yeah, not smart on Kel's part. He should have taken any any deal you could get. But I agree with Frank that I think it was all part of the plan that we didn't really get to see unfold or get talked about as much. And he just fell right into the trap. Yeah.
My favorite, though, was, Josh, he's getting my Playmaker award, my vote for that. But right after he started that confrontation with Kells, I loved what Devin did. Devin's like, well, we have Kells. Who would it be if it's not Kells? I'm not saying I want to vote out Kells, but Josh does. Who else? What do you think, Kells? Kind of putting Kells, like, right, he's already on the hot seat, like, because his name's coming up, and now he's like, give us a name. So I just thought that whole thing, I enjoyed watching the whole thing. It was beautiful, a work of art. Even though it was very apparent what was happening and everyone knew it, it was still a masterpiece.
Yeah, so that was the most interesting thing that really happens there. But after the club, they're back at the house, and Ashley is having a full meltdown. And she's melting down about Bertha. Bertha. And she does this confessional, and she says, get your grubby hands off my man. And all I can think, like, she gave me such Rachel Riley vibes, where she was like, just the pitch of her voice, everything. I was like, okay, Ashley's going to bat for Nelson. This is her man.
Yeah, I don't know why she's not mad at Nelson.
They never are, Frank.
Yeah,
they never are.
But all I'm thinking for Bertha is, I'm like, walk away, Bertha. Just walk away, because you ain't going to win this one.
Are you throwing shade by calling her Bertha?
Yes.
Okay.
That was great. I love her calling her Bertha, because that is like such a middle school childish thing to do, but it's so freaking funny to just, just show a little bit of disrespect by screwing someone's name up intentionally.
See, I think, it might not have been intentionally. I myself am terrible with names. I've been known to call people by their wrong name. But I don't think Bertha's scared at all. I think Bertha sees Ashley as like a little chihuahua that's just all bark. Because I think Bertha's pretty bad. I think she'd whoop Ashley's ass, personally.
I don't think so. Like, Ashley is the type that she's going to rip your hair out. she's going to stab you in the eyeball with her heel. Like, you don't want to fuck with her.
Texans, of course, are gonna stick together.
Exactly. Like, she will go 6 straight on Bertha's ass. Okay.
Yeah, the risk versus reward for me is just not enough for me to be Bertha and jumping into that craziness that's going on. So.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's get into the deliberation. And Frank, you've kind of already set it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Josh is immediately going to come for Kels.
Yeah, he was a little sloppy, but it got the mission accomplished. No one wants to say a name. We do it in our game nights all the time. I use this move all the time where I just don't want it to be me. So in a room full of people, I'm like, well, my vote's going to this person. And then everyone in that room that just doesn't want it to be them is like, that's a name that's not spelled like mine. So that's the name that
Anybody
goes
but
up.
me. You got a little Queen Sandra mentality there. But Josh does get the best of Kels, but in the short term, Kels is going to burn the shit out of Josh.
Josh, no offense, you are not known to be the tactical, smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
If I was making moves, bro, you wouldn't be the one to discover it.
And I love this. And you know what vibes it gave me? Wes vibes. When Wes was like, Josh, this is not a thing. You might want me out, but you're not relevant. I don't care about you. You're a goof.
Yeah.
So I think that was the same style.
Yeah, and Kels is like, just say you're shook. Like,
Right. Yeah.
say it. And I would be like, yeah, bitch, I am shook. You will kill me. And
Yeah.
you will kill everyone in here.
Right. I bet 90% of those guys are shook. So why not just be the one to say it and keep it moving? Like, I get what he was trying to do and concocting the story, and it worked. But like, you get more respect if you're just like, bro, I want you gone because I'm scared.
Yeah. And so he firmly puts the target onto Kels's back. That is where the majority of the votes are going to go. I looked up where the rest of the votes fell, and the rookies are all over the place. First of all, Emmanuel voted for him and Casey. I don't know if Emmanuel understands exactly or if he was trying to throw some stuff off, because I don't know if like the vote count is revealed to them. But Emmanuel voted for himself. But there was votes on Anissa and Logan. There was votes on Tori. There was votes on Emmy and Ed, all over the place. And these rookies are not on the same page, and the vets are definitely going to run circles around them until they can get it figured out.
Yeah, and I was curious if the vets were maybe worried that it might be an exposed vote, so they purposefully threw votes on, like CT voting for Anissa and Logan. That was like, I would think CT would be, wasn't he one of the original people that's like, the vets need to work together?
I don't remember.
So I'm thinking maybe some of those votes were just in the event that someone did see the vote count, that there would be some thrown off.
Yeah. I don't know, but anyways, Kels, Tracy, y'all are going to go in. Poor little Tracy. She ain't getting no screen time. Barely even remembered her name. Seems like a really nice girl, though. And Fessy and Esther are talking. And guess what Fessy wants to do? He wants to be messy. And he wants to just go ahead and target Amber. No, he wasn't talking to Esther there. He was talking to Josh.
Yes.
And, hey, bro, she's going to come for me, so I'm just going to go ahead and say her name. And Josh is like, no, what are you doing? And this is where Corey was referencing. Fessy always shows his true colors. He has been for years.
Is that me or Kiley? That's Kiley. Well, she's frozen. Yep, I don't think she's coming back. So that was a great thought, Kiley.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I think Fessy does the right thing by not saying Amber, because obviously he wants to gain a little bit more of that trust and kind of deflect from that stigma that he has on him. So I think he did the right thing eventually, and I'm glad that Josh again was the one to talk him out of it, which is mind-boggling to me. But
yeah, when Josh is the voice of reason, there's some issues with your game.
yeah,
And I hope that Fessy's smart enough to know that if you're the first one to poke that beehive, you're going to be the first one to get stung.
right.
So if he was the one to go at a vet first, the house of cards will all fall down, and then another rookie will win the season, like
Right.
Amber B did.
And they're expecting him to do that. So be a little bit unpredictable in that way, because then you might get people to look at you in a different way.
But so we get to the elimination. What did you think of the elimination when you saw it?
I thought it was cool. I thought it was more of an equalizer where more people could be successful at it rather than, Kells was probably hoping for something that's super, super physical, right? Because he's going to dominate that. So in his, in looking out for him, it sucks. But I think when you kind of neutralize it and level it out, it makes it more unpredictable and anything can happen.
So do you think that I know in the past season, sometimes they get to see the challenge before they pick out who goes down. Do you think that's the case here? Or do you think that they didn't get to see anything before they picked them?
Yeah, I don't think they get to see until they walk down those stairs and they're there.
Yeah, because I'm drawing a blank. Do they pick the competitors in the house or when they're down there at the arena like they did last season?
Well, Kells was the house vote, so he was voted in already.
And then Ed and Emmy.
Right. So I'm assuming they can see it and then pick who they want to go against.
Okay.
So sorry,
Welcome back.
my electricity went out. Just a quick little flash of no electricity. So I don't know where y'all are at.
We are at the point where they come and they see the elimination round.
All right. Just go from there. I'll catch up.
So Emmy and Ed are going down to take on the challenge. Kells and I can't remember her name. Tracy.
Patricia.
Patricia. No, Patricia. I was messing up.
Priscilla.
Yeah. Patricia. Yeah. And I only said Patricia because of our Patricia, who is called Trisha. So there's just all the issues, and I can't deal with it.
All these bitches. Yeah, so what do y'all think about this elimination? Because this is one we've not ever seen before.
We just kind of, DeLucas kind of gave us his thoughts on it. When I saw it, I was like, this would be something I would want to do. I would want to be on the part that
The bed.
where you were flipped down with the magnet. Because I actually have, I remember seeing an ad on Facebook. It was like magnet fishing, and it had this video of this guy pulling up this treasure chest with his magnet, and I was like, that's a thing? Oh, magnet's only $10 on Amazon, so I became a magnet fisher for one day.
One day, okay. I was like, wait, hold on.
I tried it once, threw the magnets in the garage, never touched them again. But I think that would be kind of fun, because that's kind of the same concept. It's actually the same magnet, and you're just trying to get those on the blocks, pull them up. Yeah. I thought it was really interesting that not every side of that block had a magnet.
Only two sides are magnetic. I loved that little twist. And, I mean, at the beginning, Ed and Emmy are killing this, throwing it out, bringing one up.
Ed's can we go back a little bit? I wanted to point out this, too. I loved when they called Ed down. I love how Ed handled it. He's like, this is obvious. You put the two biggest guys in the house down here together. That I just wanted to touch on that because that was in my notes. And another reason I loved Ed this week.
Yeah. So Tracy and Kells do manage to catch up a little bit, but Emmy finally gets that last block flipped over, and they're able to put the puzzle together. It's a map.
Devin,
hey,
it's a map. And I loved Emmy. I loved Emmy. You're the best engineer in the world, Ed. It's
This
like
is
an
like a map that
puzzle.
second graders can put together. But okay.
And I'm thinking to myself, how long did it take them to get the magnets and pull that up? If it was me, while you're getting the magnet part, I'm working the puzzle out.
Right.
I'm actually laying them in order, so then when we're done, it's just...
Or at least start like flipping them around, like get them all going the right direction. Something. I thought that exact same thing too. Like
I thought if you're gonna have it be like a puzzle challenge, let's up the game of the puzzle. Even if it was, I like the simple black and white, but maybe make every side of that cube have a red herring puzzle piece that doesn't belong. Then we would have saw maybe a struggle and a little more panic. But Ed talks about it in an interview afterwards that he knew the minute that they got their blocks up that they had won.
Yeah. Yep, that was, pretty easy for them. So I'm excited because out of the duos, I definitely want to see Ed and Emmy coming back. It is a little sad to lose Kels this early. Tracy, unfortunately, we don't really get to know anything about her, so no big loss there. But we do lose Kels, which I think could have had an interesting storyline. But we get to keep Ed and we get to keep Emmy. And that's the main one that we don't want to lose yet. They have their option to infiltrate or to stay together. And they decide to infiltrate. And Ed picks Tori and Emmy goes back with Devin. So do we like these new team combos?
Mm-hmm.
I love that Devin's the number one pick again. I think Ed is smart to go with Tori because she's well connected and she's strong. I think it's funny that Tori voted for Ed and then he picked her to be on his team. But I think they'll have fun together.
Yeah, you can't stay together as rookies because they're coming for y'all. If you have half a brain in your head, you're picking a veteran partner.
Absolutely.
So definitely a good decision on not sticking together and infiltrating.
Right. I would agree. There's only two other. There's Tasha and Jeremiah and Michelle and Corey L. So now you're one of three rookie teams that could easily be the house vote. So of course I'm stealing a vet.
Deuces, bye Ed, bye Emmy. I am not sticking with you. But that connection is something that maybe they can come back on. You've won an elimination together.
Right.
Do you guys think we're going to get to a point after these total rookie teams are kind of diminished? Do you think we're going to get to the point where people are not agreeing on the vote? And then what happens if you don't agree with your teammate on that vote? Then what happens? Any theories there?
You just vote individually and see what happens.
Or you go in. If you can't come to a consensus, how do you break that tie? There's only 2 votes. So I would assume that they would give up that power and have to go in themselves.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So excited for next episode to see this little water challenge play out and what happens. So far, I'm liking the new blood that we've gotten to see. Kind of ready to see some other people besides the Nelson storyline play out a little bit. So we'll see what happens in the next coming weeks. But we decided that we are going to choose some awards to give out. So Frank, what is our first award that we're going to give?
So the first award, I think we're all going to agree on this one, is Best Confessional of this episode. And I think we already showed it tonight. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I can't even do it. But yeah, I'm going to practice that laugh and try to get good at it. Can you pull that clip up again? Because that's my vote for the Best Confessional.
Hold on.
Sorry.
I think that laugh might have went longer than the actual confessional did. Because it seems like it's the type to seem like it's going to stop. And then it goes again and it'll just keep going.
I'm good with seconding that as the confessional. Michael, do you have a different one in mind?
Nope, I agree. I think that was the standout confessional of the episode for sure.
All right. What's our next category?
The next award is going to be Comp Beast of the week.
Okay, I'll go first. I think a Comp Beast of the Week, I'm going to give it to my girl Esther, winning the first challenge for Nigeria, having the arm looking like a major league pitcher out there. So I'm giving my Comp Beast to Esther.
I agreed, and I tried to pick ones that you guys wouldn't pick, but I picked Esther as well. I think she did a great showing in the first episode. She did a great showing in the second episode, so we'll see more from her. And I think she's got what it takes to be a really good challenger.
I think we're pretty much the same. I said Fessy and Esther. I think you can't discredit Fessy because he was an equal part in that challenge, and with not eating, I had to give him some credit. So I gave him that as a team. So
Okay. We can handle that. I
we
guess.
can kick Fessy out though. His feelings won't be hurt.
We'll just give it only to Esther. Sorry. You
I'm
got
down with
drafted.
that.
All right, the Playmaker.
Okay,
Yes.
go
All
ahead.
right, Michael.
I'll start with this one. I know what you guys are going to pick, so I'm going to pick more of a subtle play and go with Michelle approaching Tracy to kind of negate that animosity for stealing her partner.
Okay.
That was my play of the week.
My playmaker is going to Josh. I hope I never have to vote for him again. But just the way he handled multiple situations throughout the episode, whether it be with Amber B and Fessy or the whole Kells situation, I just thought he was making plays.
Give it to my boy Josh. He was the Playmaker of the week. I think this is his move. Add that to your resume, Josh. You pulled this one off. Fessy, you played a minor role. You don't get the award again. All right.
And we have 2 more awards, and this next one is the biggest beef. So our biggest fight of the week, confrontation, however you want to look at that one.
All right. Who's going first?
I would think it'd be Bertha and Ashley, right?
It's Bertha and Smashley.
I differ. I went with something different. I thought of it in a different way. It's the rookies versus themselves. Why are they voting each other in? Stop it. You have Kyle and Amanda and Josh and Amber as 2 vet teams that you can get into that elimination. Huddle up, get it together, stop eating each other alive, or else you have no shot. So that's my biggest beef of the week.
Love that. Love the strategy behind it and not just the drama.
Yeah, and you said Kyle. I don't think I saw any Kyle this episode. That's
Any
it.
what?
Any Kyle this episode, and that might be the first time
Kyle
in a
was
while.
not in this episode. CT was not in this episode. Big T has not really been in any of the episodes yet. So, like I said, that's why I'm kind of ready to move on a little bit from Nelson.
Well, we have one more award, and I think this might be the award that we kind of might hit different people on, and that's Rookie of the Week.
Who wants to go first?
My personal pick is Ed, and that's just how well he's integrating himself into this environment in this challenge house. I just all around, and once I found out that he didn't wear his shorts in, he got my vote. But that was a tough week because there was a lot of good rookies. Esther, Emmy, also fantastic.
Michael?
Mine was also Ed. I loved the energy that he came in with. I also loved how he handled Emmy's meltdown and reassured her how good she did. And then his win in the final elimination. So I don't think you can really make a case for anyone else, but I'm curious to see what you have to say.
Well, I mean, I can definitely get behind what y'all are saying, but just to differ it up a little bit so we're not, just kumbaya over here, I will give mine to Emmy for stealing the show. Y'all, I've got a gnat flying around here and almost flew up my nose. Okay, for stealing the show in terms of the dramatics, the confessionals, the drama, the win. Homegirl's got it all. So, Rookie of the Week, Rookie of the Season so far, Emmy.
Definitely, I think Rookie of the Season. I think she's going to be the Rookie of the Season. as it all plays out.
Yeah, probably. So, anyways, we thought that was fun to do, and so we will be doing that each week where we will bring ours, and hopefully we're not always in agreement because that's never fun.
Yes, and if you guys also have who you think should win the award and we didn't mention their name, let us know in the comments. And if you have an award that you think is better than these awards, let us know, and we'll make that one of the official awards that we give out.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. Anything else you guys want to plug or say before we wrap up this episode?
Game night is next Friday, right?
Yeah, so we have a game night for the fans entertainment. We will link our Facebook group in the description. Come and join us. We play for many, many hours. Mafia, Jackbox games, Secret Hitler. We always have a good time, and we like to have a big crew play. So if you want to join in on the fun, then make sure you join us.
And also, Real Foot season 10 is now casting. Frank and I will be on production. So if you think you have what it takes to last 8 days in the woods of Tennessee, eating barely anything, hit one of us up.
Love it. All right, guys, we will be back next week to talk about the 3rd episode of the challenge and all the drama that it entails. And we'll see you guys next week.